咁多位親愛嘅網友，我終於翻嚟啦。因為病咗，所以幾個星期都冇見，所以今集我哋決定俾一單好勁嘅資料俾大家。幾日前 Exopolitics 嘅 Mr. Neil Gould 收到一份由神秘組織送出嚟嘅一個報告，係講述人形外星人同地球人中間嘅互動。今晚我哋就即刻睇睇呢份報告裏邊所講嘅秘密資料。歡迎收聽 MJ13，我係你嘅節目主持卓飛嘅。咁啊，大家睇到啦嚇，坐咗喺度 Mr. Neil Gould again from Exopolitics。
Hello everybody.
We are going quite smooth on the tour.
Yes, so far it's looking like we're full, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Really looking like we're full.
Yeah, we're full. And everybody got their visa.
Well, I had no doubts, and we have plenty help from somewhere.
Yeah, you didn't say 110 in visa.
Well, we don't have any doubt.
OK， 咁啊，今日又有 Neil Gould 喺度啦 ，Mr. Neil Gould 喺度，星際政治學啊，咁啊，今日嚟到咧要同大家分享一啲資料啊，有啲資料好緊要嘅。咁但係講啲資料之前都提一提大家啦，即係我哋個 tour 咧，其實都差唔多滿啦，即係可以講俾你聽，差唔多滿晒啦。咁所以仲有一個位、兩個位咁樣啦。咁如果有興趣嘅，大家就快啲報名參加啦。OK。咁咧就我哋唔講個 tour 啦，我哋今次就 focus on 呢啲資料。嗱，呢啲資料咧，我要解釋俾大家聽先。呢啲資料嘅來源係由一個我諗下點樣形容俾大家聽咧，係由一啲秘密嘅軍事人員啦，同埋係一啲神秘嘅組織啦嚇。嗱，我想強調幾樣嘢大家聽，我要一開始就講呢樣嘢好緊要，大家唔好將呢啲嘢譯做英文 ，OK？ 譯做中文嗱，試過噶啦，先前都試過。呢啲資料唔好譯做英文，就算你哋喺討論區嗰度寫，或者你哋喺留言都好，唔好譯翻英文出嚟。點解呢？個原因係因為呢啲資料我哋係得到 approval 去 disclose 呢啲資料出去，但係我哋唔可以用 English 去 disclose， 我哋一定要用 Chinese， 即係嗰個人講明我唔想用英文嘅語言講出去，因為你會令到，如果你哋咁做會令到呢一個人呢係有危險，你會令到我哋大家都會有危險嘅，所以大家唔好用英文啦，乖聽話 OK。如果喺討論區度我發現有人用英文去寫翻呢啲資料出嚟呢，我係會即刻 delete 咗佢嘅，即係我唔會再講啦，因為我唔想令到人哋俾料出嚟嘅線人呢係有一個好危險嘅情況。OK， 咁呢個人呢就係一啲軍事人員啦，亦都係一啲嘅神秘組織啦嚇，我唔開名講咩會，總之一啲神秘組織，咁佢亦都做緊一啲好多嘅點樣講呢？好多資料嘅研究，但係嗰啲資料呢，好同一啲外星人嘅資料研究呢好接近嘅。OK，I just explain to them don't use English。Correct. You know, of the name
Correct.
of those group. Okay, if they put English there, just let me know and then I will erase it right away.
Right.
Okay, so what about this document? 嗱，我哋再講多次咧，我哋今次會乖啲噶啦。我哋今次會做晒節目先至出街，大家唔使等。OK， 所以撳翻喺下低嗰個 CC 嗰個就睇到個 Chinese subtitle. Okay, go ahead. What about
As
this
you
paper?
know, many of these spiritual ETs have stopped talking to governments.
Yeah. They stopped talking to them because they already used the technology for the weapons.
They want technology, the governments, to weaponize it. And they don't want to take technology to improve the conditions for the people on this planet.
Yeah.
So these spiritual ETs, many of them, will bypass the government, sometimes talking to powerful groups, even if those groups are not necessarily in the best interest of us, but powerful groups. And of course, they will also talk one-to-one with contactees and the rest of humanity. So when we have one country talking to another country, we call that diplomacy. You have the diplomat and the diplomat
One
from the
country
embassy.
to another country，兩個唔同國家嘅對話就叫 diplomacy，係
Diplomacy. United Nations, all the countries get together, the ambassadors sit there, diplomacy. What this document is what we call galactic diplomacy.
galactic diplomacy.
Okay?
So
That is
we are talking about the Earth and the creatures outside,
right.
the
Now, right.
the intelligence outside.
There are only two people in Hong Kong who are trained and studied and qualified in galactic diplomacy.
What is you?
One is me, and the other, as you know, is Stan Ho.
Stan, yes.
Stan Ho has reached a very high level already,
Yeah.
and Stan Ho is very familiar with galactic diplomacy as well.
Right.
So this is really about galactic diplomacy, this document. It is really a communication between a group of ETs called the Nordics.
Nordics.
The
Human-looking
Nordics, the
ET.
human-looking Nordics and humans.
What do you mean? What do you mean human-looking?
They look
Nordics and
exactly like us, except they've had years and years of civilization, and they're advanced. And of course, they've engineered themselves to look better. I mean, when you see a Nordic, he's normally tall, he's normally blonde, he's normally blue-eyed, he's in symmetry. Each half of the body matches the other half, and they look very nice, very handsome. And the same for the woman. So this is galactic diplomacy.
So you
And-
see when you're walking on the street, you see a beauty.
Could be.
You just go over and ask, "Are you an alien?"
They won't tell you. But
They
in-
won't tell you. Okay.
In this document, they say very, very clearly that one advantage the Nordics have that the Grey doesn't have is that the Nordics are able to come into our society, mix with our society, learn from our society, and help in our society.
Because they look like a human.
They look
normal
like human. Now, I'm approaching this document not from a point of view that I agree with everything, not from a point of view that I'm saying everything they say we have to believe. Because the first problem that I have in this document with the Nordics is they are referring to Nordics as themselves, when we also know in our institute that there are many different kinds of Nordics. There are many different kinds of human-looking ETs.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Because if you say you just mentioned that it looks like blonde and blue eyes and tall and white skin, it's more like a white person. And how are they gonna mix together with like a people with yellow skin?
Well, first of
with
all,
black skin.
the other problem is that we all know that Charles Hall, who worked at Nellis as a weatherman, meteorologist.
Okay, 講清楚先 Charles Hall 嚇 Can you explain Charles Hall? Who Charles Hall is? Because people may misunderstand talking about Charles Hall.
Charles
From
Hall,
Redden-Sam-
we can put some pictures up of him,
Yeah.
was in the 1960s a weatherman, a meteorologist who worked on the Nellis Range at Area 51, who was not told that the US government was hosting about 800 extraterrestrials called tall whites, which more look human, but they're not human by any means. Some of them grow to 9 feet. You can see through their skin sometimes. They have patchy white hair.
So white, big eyes.
The
with
eyes are
black
not
eye.
that much bigger, but they wrap around more. They look like ours, but they wrap around the side and they're blue. So the point is that Charles Hall, not only did he have experiences with the tall whites, who are guests of the US government, but he had experience in meeting what he called Nordics with 24 teeth.
24 teeth. How many teeth we have?
I don't remember. But,
But it must be more than that.
Must maybe a little bit more. But anyway, these were specifically Nordics with 24 teeth, meaning that there were other Nordics that have a different amount of teeth, or perhaps some of them joined together. I'm I can't really say for sure. It's
Okay.
a little speculative. So, also, some of the point of view in this document of the Nordics describing their actions, I find concerning. Now, in galactic diplomacy, what's very, very important, we have to understand we are looking at this document and studying extraterrestrials from the point of view of a human. In other words, it's anthropocentric is the English word. Anthropocentric. It means we're taking the view from the human's point of view. The same way as long ago in this planet, people thought that the Earth was the center and the sun went around.
Yes.
Okay? They called that geocentric.
Yeah. Long times ago.
Right. Then they thought, okay, the sun. And it became heliocentric. So I'm talking about anthropocentric, the humans from our point of view. If we don't like something, then we think that's bad. A good alien, a bad Nordic, a good grey, it's from our point of view. This document is not talking from our point of view. So we have to understand that.
From the point of view from where?
The point of view of what is.
A point of view of what?
Of what is. Of just what is. Okay? Now,
you're going to have to give a little example.
We will give some examples. We will give some examples. First of all, in this document, the Nordics explained that they have abilities that are completely different to ours. For example, they are telepathic.
Yeah, they can just think, and then the message transferred to somebody else.
They can think, they can transfer, but they can also talk.
Yeah, they can talk.
And they can talk.
Or they can talk at the same time.
They can talk at the same time. The point here, in this document, is very, very clear. They've asked questions. Why is it that we see you and you have been seen on board the craft with the alien grey?
Say that again. Say that again. Why? What?
Why have the Nordics been seen on the same spacecraft by abductees?
Yeah.
With the greys?
係啦，有好多啲老拐個案都話係見到有嗰啲 greys 啦，嗰啲小灰人，同時間亦都見到有啲人喺度。So you're talking about when the abductees, when they come back and they record the whole experience, and then they saw the greys, and at the back they saw a white guys. So that white guy is himself. Maybe he's a Nordic.
We don't even know with Travis Walton, even though we say the ETs were helping him, why at the end were there two humans come on board this craft with these creatures?
Yes.
You see? So it's just what is. So now, looking at this particular document, they asked, why are you there, and are these greys doing abductions? And the Nordic says, yes, the greys do the abductions. We don't do the abductions.
But they are at the same group.
But they are there. So they're saying, and they are justifying it, they're saying, well, for their point of view, the humans are available. They might as well
use... For what?
Well, because the greys abduct them, so they find them available for their purposes. So what are their purposes?
Yeah, what the purpose is?
The Nordic said the greys are interested in the physical aspects of humans. Obviously our DNA, they look inside, they look at us medically, etc., etc. Whereas the Nordics are claiming that they're only interested in the intelligence and the personality of the humans. They have this interest. Now they don't say why. They don't say why, what they're doing with it. But the question was asked to the Nordic, is the abduction good or bad? And the Nordics are saying,
there is no good and bad.
There's no good or bad. It's just beneficial for humans later on because they're having an experience and they should be happy knowing that a part of them is going out into the stars.
Exactly, just like we abducted a crocodile from a dry land. You know, put some chips in there, in the back, to observe, to protect them.
On the one hand, but the Nordics are also claiming that it's important that the humans are brought up to speed, if you like, improved, so that they can join this confederation in space.
So you're saying after the abduction, and the people will raise up their level.
This is what the
consciousness
Nordics
level.
are. This is what the Nordics are claiming. We always have to be very careful.
But that is also the same case as the other people, like Jim Sparks,
Same case.
like Travis Walton, like the R.I. Isley. They change after the alien abduction.
They become much more spiritual and aware.
Yes, exactly.
And aware.
I met this lady, Miss Ma. She was being abducted, and she's now reading the book, which I don't.
Right.
But I have a question: how reliable of this information?
The core truth is there. The problem for us reading this is sometimes if we don't like what they're saying, we reject it because we're anthropocentric. We don't like what's told to us. I don't like to hear, and you don't like to hear, that it's something that they can take us when they want to take us because it's good for us. We didn't give our permission.
Yes.
Their argument is that you don't remember anyway, so it makes no difference. But we do know that many people do remember.
Yes, a human being, bring over the well, take a shark from sea, do a lot of experiment. Do you have permission from them? No, you don't. So why do we have a right to ask for the permission from a high intelligence species?
This is a good question. But now you should know, what is the abduction program for the Grey? And we know this from Dr. Jacobs, who has interviewed maybe 1,000 or more cases of abductees.
Explain, introduce a little about this Dr. Jacobs.
Dr. Jacobs is a professor at the university in the States.
Right.
I think he's a professor of history or something like that. It's not, but he has a PhD, I think, in ufology as well. I think he's the first person to get it. But the point is, he's regressed abductees and got information. Now, his view is very negative of what this abduction program is. Now, the abduction program, as he explains it, is as follows. There are 4 parts to it. There's the abduction program. That is where the Greys can turn up in your home. They can paralyze you. They can not paralyze you, so you know what's happening, if they wish. They take you up onto the craft.
Right.
Typically, you're put onto a table. Typically, you are examined. Some people find it very traumatic. Some people experience fear. Few do not experience fear, very few in the beginning. And in some cases, they are then introduced to children, hybrid children, that they are told are theirs. Anyway, the abduction phase is the first phase. The second phase of the abduction program, of which the Nordics are there, is that it is a breeding program. A breeding program. What they do, they'll get a human female, take her eggs, fertilize the eggs with alien sperm, and then create a half-half hybrid. Or take male sperm and mix it with alien egg and make a half-half, half-human, half-grey hybrid. If they want the hybrid to look more human, they then grow that child and then add more human sperm again with that egg. So they can either make it go more human looking or more alien looking.
What, you can just add more sperm in there?
They take the
And
off.
then
It's
they
like
make-
when you breed dogs. You keep breeding and keep breeding
But there's
and keep
only
breeding.
one sperm cell can get into the eggs.
Right. Well, when you
So
have
you add in another sperm,
no,
which makes another
when you
thing.
have an alien male sperm and a female human egg, you then get an offspring. That's 50-50. When that offspring grows up, it's 50-50. If you want it to become more human, you take the egg from that 50-50 offspring. Okay? If it's a female, you take its egg. It's already 50-50 human and alien. And then you take the sperm
Put another.
and then you do it again.
So you become a quarter of alien.
Become a quarter of it, correct. Become a quarter of an alien.
It was just like bleeding dogs.
Well, it's like that. That's what they do to make the dogs change.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's genetics. That is the breeding program.
Right.
So they can breed different different kinds of features that they wish in the aliens.
So they can be a lot more like an alien,
Or a lot
or
more,
a lot
like, a
more
human.
like human.
That's right. So that is the breeding program. We also know that they have a hybridization program. The hybridization program is really a focused attention on whether they make them more alien or more human. And what they do with these hybrids, they have an interest in trying to understand emotion, because these greys don't really have the same emotions that we have. So they lack the emotion that a human-looking child or half-human-looking child needs. So what they do, they will normally bring the mother up onto the craft.
Yeah.
And the mothers come up and they spend time in these nurseries on the craft, looking after these children and touching them and interacting with them. And, of course, there are Nordics around as well. They are seen around from time to time. They don't necessarily talk, but they're there. Then they have, according to Dr. Jacobs, something called independent, I'm trying to remember what he called it, independent hybrid activity.
Independence
Hybrid activity.
Activities. What does that mean?
When these hybrids get to a certain age,
Yes.
they send them back to Earth
What to learn? And
to experience,
to learn and experience the
to
life
sometimes
on Earth.
experience. And sometimes what you get, according to Dr. Jacobs, in his research, is that sometimes these independent hybrids come down, they rape, they cause trouble. Okay? They cause a negative effect. And they've got to be taken out again. All right? This is in the research, this is in the findings of Dr. Jacobs. It's called independent hybrid activity. So I just wanted to give you a little background about what goes on in the abduction program when we talk about abduction, and give you a little bit of background that the greys require physically our DNA, because even though they can synthesize, they can make false DNA, at the ends of the DNA there's something called telomeres. And
Called what?
Telomere.
Telomere.
Every time the DNA duplicates to make another cell, the telomere becomes shorter and shorter, and eventually it can't work anymore. So they need human DNA to continue this process of allowing the telomere on the DNA.
So this is what we are talking about. Why they have to abduct people, a lot of them,
Physically, yes. They
to
also
get their DNA.
To get the DNA.
To fill in this gap.
To fill in this gap. But the Nordics are claiming that they just interested in the character and this kind of thing of the human.
And the
They're
emotional.
in here, they're not saying anything more. You see? I'm looking through the document,
Yeah.
and here I say, from the human perspective, it seems very bad. And they're saying, abductions are not bad. They're not detrimental. They are benefit to us in the long run, because it helps us with growth and development. And then they say they need us to get to a level that we can join in with the Federation, with the Galactic Federation.
So they believe that we will join them one day.
They believe one day, but we're not ready. They say we're too wild.
Oh yes.
They
of
say the
course.
abductions will fix this.
Look at the news.
But the problem is, the Greys are not a member of the Federation.
Are the Greys or not?
Are not a member of the Federation.
Oh. So they can do whatever they want.
They working outside of the Federation, and they'll never join the Federation.
So
because the Greys don't work by consensus. See, with the Nordics, when they want to agree something together or make a decision, they can all work by consensus. Everybody gives a bit, everybody takes a bit, and then they can have a consensual agreement where everybody benefits and everybody loses a bit. Okay, so they still have some individuality. With the Greys, it doesn't work that way. It's one mind. It's a hive mind, like the bees.
they're all sharing the same thought.
They're all sharing the same mind.
So no wonder they don't need to talk.
Okay, well, they have their imperatives, their agendas, which are clearly different. But this is what I'm trying to explain with galactic diplomacy. It's hard to shift from our anthropocentric viewpoint We're looking at all this and we're confused and this is not fair and that's not good. But what the hell? That's what is. That is just the way it is out there. Okay? Good guys and bad guys. To them, there's no good guys and no bad guys. They make it clear in this document.
Yeah, 係啊，佢哋好
Good
多
guys
嗰
and
啲，
bad guys.
佢哋好
Say-
多啲外星人啲接觸者都講話冇分好壞，冇分高低，冇分正面負面，佢哋冇呢個分別㗎。即係我哋地球人嘅 perspective 就會睇到啊 good guy bad guy 啊，但係喺 Nordic 嘅角度，佢哋睇外星人嘅角度睇係冇負面嘅嘢㗎。Yeah, carry on.
Let me read you
Yes.
what the Nordics' answer was
Yes.
about the good guys and the bad guys.
Yes, what about it?
There are no good guys or bad guys. These are human words and terms and not relevant to the Nordic way of thinking. Each race, each species, has its own agenda and its own mission.
Right.
Some of these agendas and mission may be opposite
With the
what
others.
others do and say. But, here's the important point. The Nordics say that all the groups, all the different groups, Greys, everybody, at least cooperate,
Cooperate.
work together. They can find a way to work together, to solve a problem, to get round a problem, to create something, maybe to get rid of electrogravitic pollution.
So what's the point of joining the galactic?
Well, hang on. What they're saying is that humans are aggressive. It's true,
Yes,
right? We kill people. We do terrible
Yeah.
things, right?
exactly.
And we're territorial. This is my area. That's not your area.
Yes,
This is my land. Get off my land.
yes,
Don't park your boat here.
right.
This is my country. Get across the border. Don't come over the border.
Yeah, get the visa before you come.
Get the visa, okay?
yes.
They don't have this. So you can see immediately, from us, this is normal.
Right.
Our point of view, this is normal.
Yes,
From the alien point of view, they're looking at what we're doing here. In other words, a good example, the secret government is controlling all the natural resources,
yes, that's
controlling the diamonds,
right. Yeah,
all controlled, controlling the money, the value of money,
yeah. The gold.
controlling the gold, controlling the oil,
Yeah,
controlling commodities to make things scarce. So everybody has to fight to get what they want. And they control it by using the dollar. If your country doesn't support America, they won't let you exchange your currency for the dollar, then you can't buy anything and you're finished.
yeah.
So the planet is controlled by the shadow government, by the elites, using these tools. Now, what the Nordics are saying, they look down at us, watch us being stupid over this, okay? When everything that is being controlled is plentiful all around the universe. You want as much gold as you want, you can go into space, get onto an asteroid, and there might be a lot of gold on there. Or you want oil, hydrocarbons, which the Greys need for their skin and for food and all that kind of stuff. You just go to another planet. The universe is full of raw materials, natural materials. But we don't think that because our anthropocentric view is tuned in to this worldview.
The world wheel.
It's
That's
tuned in. That's what we believe is normal.
Yeah, the world wheel. That's the terms you mentioned a lot of times.
A lot of
before. Let me explain a little to the guys. 嗱 world view 係咩咧？即係呢個世界觀啊！我講翻中文啦，即係呢個。如果你到而家都唔明白世界觀呢個 terms 個用途咧，咁就真係好難會明今集會講咩嘅。嗱，世界觀呢個字就係咩咧？我哋嘅世界觀，譬如我哋落去樓下買個即食麵係好方便嘅，我哋要揸架歐洲車就好成功啦。我哋要住幾大嘅屋企，我哋要食啲乜嘢，所有嘅嘢全部都係呢個世界入邊嘅人去 create 出嚟嘅世界觀嚟嘅啫。即係話你覺得落去樓下買到個即係買到個，我真係講咗個名添，買咗個即食麵食嘅時候咧係好方便，但係對於有啲人嚟講，如果你習慣咗唔係樓下有間便利店嘅話咧，即係嗰種生活又係另外一樣嘢。 但係而家我要講俾大家聽嘅就係我哋嘅世界觀，我哋點樣為之成功呢？做醫生做律師就成功啦，揾好多錢就成功啦，呢個係個世界觀。而呢個世界觀呢，就係俾一班我哋叫 elite 啊嗰啲精英分子 create 出嚟俾我哋嘅世界觀嚟嘅，而係透過電視機啦、透過傳媒啦、透過娛樂啦，就 create 咗呢個咁樣嘅所謂嘅 world view 俾大家。咁大家就睇住個 world view 以為咁樣就成功啦咁樣。咁但係實質上係咪咁樣呢？呢個真係大家諗清楚，或者大家去感受清楚呢，就發覺呢件事並唔係真事嚟嘅嚇。OK， 我哋而家時間夠鐘，去到 break time， 我哋轉頭翻嚟繼續 MJ13。好啦，翻嚟第二節嘅 MJ13，我哋繼續呢一份啊，唔係講笑啊！呢份 paper 係真係由一啲好核心嘅神秘組織嘅會員同埋一啲軍事嘅人員嗰度攞翻嚟。呢份資料係好厚嘅，其實，所以我哋都要睇住份資料去睇啦。即係雖然咁樣唔係好專業，不過因為記唔晒啲資料啊。OK，I have questions. All these years we heard about the alien abduction everywhere, almost everywhere, even Hong Kong. We got case in Hong Kong, got case in China, a case in everywhere in the whole world. But we also hear about the hybrid. The hybrid, like what you just mentioned, take the eggs and take the sperm from whatever species and then mix them together and get a half alien and half human species. What's the purpose of that?
Okay, I can answer you in various ways. First, we'll refer to the document of what the Nordics say.
Yeah.
And then I will give you some commentary.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what's the document say?
The document says, when asked the question, what is the purpose of the hybrid? The Nordics say, the hybrids do work that the Nordics, humans, and greys cannot do, or go where cannot do, or to go where Nordics, humans, or greys cannot go. They are emissaries, workers, travellers, and pioneers. So they're making out, the Nordics are saying that these hybrids are very special because they can do what the Nordics can't do, they can do what the Greys can't do, and they can go out into space and work and represent people. But this
what is the thing? What is the thing that the hybrid? What is the thing that the hybrid can do and the Greys cannot do? Well, what is the thing that the Nordic, which is more intelligence and powerful?
First of all, the Greys are not really ambassadors or emissaries. They're not really trusted. They're not part of a federation. So the excuse is that perhaps if it was a little less of a Grey, more of a human, it still has Grey DNA, but maybe more acceptable and can talk, because the Greys don't necessarily talk. Not that talking is important. I'll come back on that. The Nordics, I don't see, from what I understand and researched, what a hybrid can do that a Nordic can't do. But one very, very important point in this galactic diplomacy is that the Nordics say humans use words. Words limit
Exactly.
everything. Because when you say something in a word, you think of the word, you say the word, and that describes the situation. And everybody is zoomed on the word.
And worse than that, because these days people don't use words and speed it out, they type it.
Well, typing, but the point is you can say a word that's true and you can say a word that's not true.
Yeah,
A sentence.
It doesn't mean anything.
And everybody follows, and some believe it and some don't, and they're locked. You never get any further with
Yes.
words.
Yes.
With telepathy, mind to mind, it's not about a word. It is actually projecting a concept. So with telepathy, you don't have to speak word by word, but you can put a whole picture, a concept, and everybody can immediately understand it. It's like I could say the film Star Wars. Just one word in my mind projects Star Wars, and everybody understands the whole film.
Right.
So again, diplomacy, our understanding and ability in diplomacy is purely words, whereas extraterrestrials and advanced races, their abilities in diplomacy is different. They can project whole films through their mind. The question is, here they are projecting words, but are they telling the truth? Now, I spoke to Stan Ho, and Stan Ho agrees with me that what these beings do, they tell us just enough. They seem to be keeping us a little bit in the dark, these Nordics. They answer the question, but they deflect the truth.
For what purpose on that?
I don't think they are necessarily, let's say, they know that what is going on, we're becoming aware, and that what is happening with abductions, what is happening generally, not all of it is in our interest. Now, maybe they feel sorry for us. Maybe they genuinely do care, but they can see we cannot accept that. We cannot accept the reality.
Or maybe something we don't even understand.
We don't understand. We're stuck in words. We're stuck in being controlled. We're stuck with kings. We're stuck with leaders. We're stuck with groups.
Royalty.
We're stuck with institutions. Emotional, hyper-emotion. And we can't get away from all this. So how do we make that jump in society?
Yes.
From this terrible situation we're in now to a galactic
level.
This is a very key point. And
so are you saying that for the Nordic, who is already in the galactic level with the Galactic Federation, is that what we're talking about? So those people, they don't have emotional.
They have some emotion, but not. There's no need for them to get as emotional as we get, because they don't have the worldview and the environment that we have. We have an environment of restricted supply of essential commodities. They have everything they can get in the universe that they want. We have a restriction on water. They can get as much water as they want. We have a restriction on food. Most of us don't eat on this planet.
So
6 billion people, and only 1.5 billion are eating. The rest don't really eat. Everybody eats.
So simply saying that the worldview creates our emotional.
The worldview certainly is used to keep us in fear.
Yeah, the fear.
Will I get my visa? If I go to this country, maybe I'll get killed. This terrorist, maybe that. Maybe, this religion's good, this is bad. Everything is fear. Prices are going up. Petrol's going up. There's no oil.
Yeah.
This is fear. Using exotic weapons to create earthquakes.
Yeah.
This is fear.
Afraid of dying, afraid of no boyfriend, no girlfriend.
So, being trained in galactic diplomacy, like Stano, myself, we are taught to understand our human problem, predicament. Try to put it aside. Try. Okay?
Try.
And then listen to what they say.
Yes.
The extraterrestrials.
Yes.
And understand that they don't have this, and see how can we join in meaningful discussion. But most important of all, how to make sure that they don't do to us what the elite are doing to us. This is a very key point in galactic diplomacy. And this document from the Nordics, whilst I have it, I don't necessarily accept everything.
Right.
But I'm sharing it with you so that you can understand the mechanism of galactic diplomacy and what it's about.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
So, one of the other interesting points is we have to understand what we are. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information that's a little bit shocking.
Yeah, go ahead.
But let me explain to your people, your listeners, and you can translate it a bit as we go along.
Yeah, no problem.
First of all, what are we?
Let me say a little. 嗱，而家佢就有啲資料要同我哋分享，咁佢就話呢啲資料咧，即係對於部分嘅人嚟講，可能都幾震驚嘅一啲資料啊。咁就唔想即係再做翻譯，呢度直接我喺呢度講埋少少翻譯出嚟，盡量翻譯啦嚇。Go ahead.
We are living in a hologram. This is a virtual world. None of this necessarily exists.
我哋而家生活緊嘅呢個環境咧，全部都係一個全息影像嚟嘅，即係我哋就係拎住支筆，其實唔一定要有支筆喺度。
All the atoms that are in this room, and all the atoms in the universe, have the nucleus in the middle and the electrons going around.
Yes.
So there's a big space in between.
我哋所有嘅物質啊，呢個世界上啊，呢個宇宙上高都係有個原子喺中間啦，跟住就有啲 sorry 有個應該我唔記得咗嗰啲中文名，總之有個 atom 有個原子喺中間，跟住其他嗰啲會圍住佢轉啦，但係中間會有啲空間嘅喎。
The quantum physicists say, if you got all the matter in the whole universe and squeezed the space in between out, the whole universe would only be that much solid.
如果將所有 who said that?
The quantum mechanics.
OK， 呢啲量子力學嗰啲專家講啊，即係如果將成個宇宙所有嘅空間都壓縮到冇晒，淨係將啲有嘢嘅原子壓縮埋一齊咧，咁整個宇宙咧就只係得好似一個銀仔咁大嘅啫。
So we look at everything, we see it solid.
But it is not actually.
But it is
not
not
solid.
Why do we see it solid? And the reason is that our consciousness is inside a brain. The brain is in a dark place. It's inside the skull.
Right. 即係我哋但係見到正話嗰啲嘢，即係話一嚿咁嘅物件或者一個原子中間咁多空間，即係應該唔係一個實體啦。但係點解我哋睇嘅所有嘢都係一個實體咧嚇？咁啊，因為我哋首先要解釋我哋個腦咧，就係包圍咗喺我哋嘅頭骨裏邊嘅。Yeah, what about the skull then?
We're inside here. The only reason why we can see everything going on is our senses, our eyes, our ears, our touch. We are receiving the electrical signals into our eyes and it's being interpreted. It's being interpreted
嗱，我哋睇到
into
嘅
an
嘢，
image.
我哋睇嘅嘢咧就係所有嘅嘅能量啦，或者光嘅能量，或者電磁波去到我哋嘅眼入邊，去咗我哋嘅神經線入邊，個神經線咧就喺入邊解譯，喺入邊演繹翻我哋應該睇到嘅嘢，然之後去翻我哋個腦度。
If we took our ears, eyes, nose, fingers, everything away, you would not know what was here.
冇晒啲眼耳口鼻咧，冇晒啲手腳咁樣，冇晒啲感官咧，我哋就唔知道發生緊咩事。
And if you destroyed the brain, there would just be consciousness.
What do you mean? Say that again.
If you destroyed the brain,
Yeah.
killed it, there would just be consciousness left.
OK， 如果將個腦都殺死埋咧，就剩翻一個意識喺度啦。
Okay?
Yeah, but the consciousness is not in this space.
It's outside of this space. It's
Outside of
non-local.
this space, non-local. Yes.
So to come and interact with this reality, to interact, it's a field. This planet, everything you see in this room is a field. And our consciousness is interacting with this field through your senses. Your sense of sight, sound.
You slowly say that again. I'm afraid people
Your-
may not understand. Say
your,
that again.
your consciousness
Yes.
is interacting
Yes.
with this reality.
Right.
All this planet. In actual fact, it is all a field, an electrical field. Your senses are interacting with it, and the brain is creating the image and the touch, the feeling of touch.
Yeah.
And you're thinking everything is solid. It's
Okay.
creating a program, and your mind is creating. When I look at the wall, the back of the brain is creating the distance between here and the wall. It's a hologram.
So it is, you're saying this is not real.
None of this is real. Your consciousness is sensing everything
But why?
and putting it into this experience.
But why? If that is only a personal feeling, why I see the same nail glue and the people seeing
Because we
watching the same
have,
nail glue?
we are all consciousness been separated by our brain, by our interaction with this field. We have our own identity in this consensual reality where we are all sharing this reality. We are all here playing this game. Now, some of the extraterrestrials that you see are from the same field, from the same universe, from different planets. But some are coming from outside where your consciousness is into our reality. They don't belong here. We call those interdimensional.
All right. 我略略講少少啊，即係話我哋而家睇緊呢個，我盡量去理解啦。如果你理解就理解啦嚇，即係話我哋而家睇緊嘅嘢都係一個假嘅全息影像嚟嘅，全部都係我哋個腦 create 出嚟。咁我問佢我話咁點解 我睇到嘅同你睇到嘅同其他人睇到嘅都係一樣嗰樣嘢咧？咁佢話其實呢個係因為我哋大家 share 緊一個意識，大家都係一齊喺呢度做緊呢一個同一個空間嘅嘢。咁但係有一啲其他嘅物種或者其他嘅外星人啦嚇，佢哋就係喺即係我哋同一個 feel 入邊，喺呢個磁場入邊同一個 feel，但係佢哋喺第二個星球度嚟嘅。但係有一啲嘅外星人咧就唔係喺同一個 feel 嚟嘅，佢哋喺我哋嘅意識嗰個空間啊，我盡量去解釋俾大家明白先。即係話我去解釋就係同時間大家可能睇緊3個電視台、2個電視台咁樣，咁但係另一個電視台都係發生緊嘅，即係另一個電視台都係播緊嘅。不過你唔校啱，你就睇唔到啦。咁然之後，我哋而家有一啲外星人就係由另外一個頻道或者另外一個空間，我哋而家理解唔到嘅空間喺嗰度嚟嘅。咁嗰啲就叫做 What's the species come from the other
interdimensional
beings 啊，即係一啲唔同嘅維度嚟嘅一啲嘅物種啦嚇。OK。
And sometimes when they come in, there is like a blue light, an electrical disturbance, or a vortex. A vortex or a portal is the method they use to come into our reality.
So no wonder in like somewhere like Skinwalker Range, Black Shore Range.
Exactly.
You see monsters, you see creatures, you see the
Because
aliens.
they're from outside the reality.
Not from this reality.
From consciousness elsewhere. Now, why do I talk about this? Because the Nordics say that when they travel, even though you see them on the Gray's spacecraft, they say very clearly in this document, they don't need a ship to travel.
They just be there.
They teleport. They can take their consciousness and move anywhere they want in the universe. But they don't take their body. They say they don't take
They
their
just
body.
travel with the consciousness.
No. When they arrive at where they want to be,
Yes.
they say that they can create from the elements in the atmosphere a new body with
Comes
its
up.
program dictated by the consciousness. So your Chukfei is here. He wants to go over there.
I
He
leave
sends
my
his
body
mind
behind.
there and creates a new body and materializes
And then they put the consciousness into that body.
into that body.
What? This is what the Nordic say?
This
In
is what the
document?
Nordics say.
OK， 嗱呢個要講啊，即係話根據一啲嘅嗰啲叫人形嘅外星人啦，Nordic 佢哋咁講啦，其實佢哋去 travel 咧，即係所謂周圍去咧，就完全係唔需要係真係真身去嘅，佢哋可以將個身體擺低咗喺佢哋原本個地方，跟住咧佢哋只係個心喺度諗緊我要去嗰個空間，佢就可以利用周圍嘅空間入邊嘅一啲嘅物質啦嚇，去做一個新嘅身體喺嗰度，然之後再將個意識投翻入去。So that's really funny here, because on a lot of the testimony from the contactee, if they contact with the Nordic or some human-looking alien, and then they have to sit on the craft and come in.
The point is, they're on craft. The point is, we don't know which Nordics we're talking about.
Okay. Some of the Nordic may need the craft. Some of them
We
may
don't
not.
know. This is galactic diplomacy. This is the whole point of maybe this. We'll do a few lectures on different species, and we'll compare. So here we have Nordics who say they are Nordics, but we don't know whether they're 24 teeth. We don't know whether it's another kind of Nordic. But this Nordic is saying that they call themselves Nordics. Why would they? But they say they do. And they have this ability. Now, they say humans are too afraid of this technology.
Of what technology?
Of this teleportation technology. They worry about
Oh,
losing
yes.
the individuality,
Yes.
the soul and the mind. He said the body is only matter and can be reconstructed anywhere, the Nordic said. The mind or soul is what travels and goes into the reconstructed body at the destination. Okay?
So it was just like Star Trek.
Just
Just like
teleport
Star Trek,
and
teleport
go, yeah.
the whole thing.
But they're not using a machine. Apparently
they're
they're using
using their
pure
mind.
consciousness.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently. So when I explained to you about the field and I explained to you about human, the brain and consciousness and atoms and compressing atoms, they use these physics because space, space is made up of 3 dimensions of height, width,
and tall,
length, right?
depth. Yeah.
Then you have 3 dimensions of time, and you have 3 dimensions of consciousness.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to look into that, just go to www.com, vernonneppy.com.
Yeah, spell it out.
VERNONNEPPE.com.
Okay.
Now, the strange thing about Dr. Vernon Neppy is that I went to school with him.
You went to school with
And
him?
he is the next Einstein.
Is he still alive?
He's just 1 year older than me. Mm-hmm. He was on Coast to Coast the other night.
Yeah.
You can go to his website and learn about him. He's so many qualifications: psychiatrist, doctor, scientist, quantum mechanics. It's just unbelievable. But he can explain the dimensions of time and consciousness. So anyway, we've moved back to this. Also, we wanted this document explains, people want to know, what are orbs?
Yeah. We see a lot of people, Stan Ho have the ability to call orbs.
Right.
如果講緊呢個光球啊，大家有機會去 Facebook 見到阿 Stan 嗰個 cover picture 就係好勁咁樣啊！佢企喺度，遞高隻手，跟住佢成張相都滿晒 orbs。What about the orbs? What exactly is the orbs?
Well,
what is the explanation from the Nordic?
This is what they say. Let me read to you exactly what they say. Orbs are energy and information.
Energy and information.
This is well known amongst the Greys and the Nordics. The orbs do not have personality or purpose, as is human beings thinking, right? They can transform into human shapes or greys, like Stan Ho has photographed, but they are not human or grey. They act as probes, carriers of information across distances. So,
what does that exactly do? I mean, just a little circle and then travel
They
everywhere?
can call these orbs like energy, and they can download consciousness into them, and they can send messages through these orbs. When the message is delivered, the orb disappears.
So they were pretty much like a pigeon.
Like a pigeon, precisely, from a human point of view. Then they said here, can orbs be called? And the Nordics said, yes, we call them to give them information that can be transported across distances. It says, think of them as workers rather than individuals. Once their purpose is carried out, they dissipate, they dissolve, they disappear into the atmosphere. Then they ask a question to the Nordic. Some of them appear to have faces.
Yeah.
Like in Stan's pictures.
Yeah.
Maybe you can put some of Stano's pictures up.
Yeah, I will ask him, see whether he's okay with that.
The faces are a form of recognition to the receiver of the information.
Ha ha ha! You were just like a thumbnail, like a profile pictures.
Like a profile picture.
Okay, this orbs, and the message inside is from this guy or from this alien.
Yeah. There's some kind of digital quantum imprint in the orb. So they're not personalities themselves. And there are different kinds of orbs. And they're saying that some humans can call orbs. Some humans can. But, it's very hard for humans to see them, most of them. You can see them on film. And it's very hard for humans to decode and understand what's in the orb. This is another major
So that is the reason why Stan can only film it.
That's probably one of the
He
reasons.
cannot catch it and understand what is it.
But what is interesting, when you go back to the Nordics,
Yeah.
the question was asked, because we all want to know, what happens after death? We die. And the Nordic says, well, we have a complete different view, because look at our technology, look at our way of life. We can take our consciousness out of this body and go into that body.
So there is no dying.
There's no dying, there's still the consciousness.
Even with the Greys as well. The
With
Greys
the Greys, it's not-
Greys said they can take the consciousness out of the body and then put it into the other one, because the Grey's body is actually like manufactured. It was created like dress.
Taking the consciousness out, what the Greys can do is they can walk through walls, they can take you through walls, they can leave you on the bed and take 10% of you and work on you, as Jim Sparks says.
Like the consciousness.
They have a complete different ability, which the Nordics don't have. That's why the Nordics like to hang around with the Greys because they get the advantage of the abductions. Because the Greys can do all these things.
And because of there is no limit between different species, so they can just get there and see it.
That's right.
And the Greys will not feel unhappy. Because in Hong Kong, people, when you come here to my territories and look at my work, I'm not feeling happy, but the Greys don't.
Right. But if you look at the Simon Park interviews on their MASH program, what do you call these? The mantids.
Mantis, yes.
Mantis. The insectoids.
Insectoids.
The insectoids take Simon Parkes' consciousness out of his body and put Simon Parkes' consciousness into a mantoid body. So he could experience a mantoid, 10, 11 foot tall, and experience everything. Now the Greys haven't, from what I've looked at, been able to do this, and the Nordics certainly can't do this.
Because you don't want to put your consciousness into a short guy.
So what are we seeing? What are we seeing here with the Nordics and the Greys? We are seeing this kind of cooperation, symbiosis. In other words, symbiosis is a biological term where two species benefit each other.
Yeah, simply say I can do this and you cannot
can do that. Right.
But you do the other thing, so we should cooperate.
We are cooperate.
Work together and get the benefits from for both of us.
So we see the Nordics cooperating with the Greys. Maybe they don't love the Greys. Why should they? But they're on their craft. The Greys are able to take people out of their homes, dissolve them through the walls. And the Nordics are there and they're doing whatever they're doing. But we don't know what they're doing with us. And they're telling us that it's good for us. How do we know we are not being used?
Never know.
Well, this is our fear. It may not be a reality that we're being used. It may be for our own good. But it's only through this transformation that humans have to make away from the fear-based macro-scale world to an even greater understanding and interaction with the universe, including interdimensional interaction. This is critically important because the Greys are interdimensional.
Yeah.
They can move outside of the reality and maybe even move into your mind.
Moving into the mind.
When you close your eyes, when you look up at the sky and you see the universe and the stars, that's not there. That's in your mind. You're perceiving that. Right. You're interacting with a field. It's all happening in here.
People think this is reality, but this is not actually.
This is a consensual reality while we interact with this field. Now, there is infraspace and intraspace. In other words, there's really portals of entry into your mind consciousness. It's another form of space. It's another dimension.
Okay, we're heading to the break, but before the break time, I want to ask you a question. That a lot of times, a lot of experience I heard from the contactees, they said if the aliens want you to do something, they have to get your permission. You have to say yes, you have to agree to do it before they do it. But for the Greys, they kidnap you, abduct you to the ship without your permission. Even you say no, they still take you out to the ship because the Grey is not part of the Galactic Federation. Is that what the reason is? All the aliens or all the species who belongs to the Galactic Federation, they have to follow in some rules.
They follow some rules, working together. Working together, but that doesn't mean not participating in an abduction, from what we see.
Well, yeah. Okay, 我哋唞一唞先，轉頭翻嚟啊，因為啲資料好深，我哋消化陣，等大家去個洗手間先。我哋轉頭翻嚟繼續 MJ13係咁。好啦，翻嚟第3節嘅 MJ13啦，繼續有 Neil Gould 喺度，咁啊討論緊呢一份嘅 paper 啊，呢份文件啊。Once again, someone you said from the military and from some secret whatever groups, they passed this paper to you a few days ago. And then how do you know this is true information or this is not information misleading people?
I don't want to go into too deeply about that, but I can tell you that these interviews did take place.
It's real.
The Nordic, with greys, with short greys, tall greys. There are different interviews, and maybe we will bring them forward. What I'm doing here today is not bringing you a document and saying, here, take this, and that's the story. I'm actually taking the document, I'm looking at it from the anthropocentric, from the human point of view. I'm then taking the human point of view out and showing you the way they see it, the ETs see it, and then I'm giving you some critical commentary on the document, which is what humans have to do in order to understand and change our position and learn. And I'm trying to help all those MJ13 people, and there's thousands of them, who wish to learn, who wish to take this subject seriously, not with little games and stuff, but there are MJ13 people who really want to learn. And the only way that we can learn is by taking a document like this and, as we say, scrutinize it, pull it to pieces, bring in other cases, compare it with what we already know. And this is the right channel to do that.
Okay, we have, from time to time, during the research, we saw pictures, we saw cases, we even heard about some experts said some of the alien abduction people being abducted to the craft, and they won't even come back. And some of the pictures show people die like a cattle, with their eyes bored, empty the eyes bored, drain all the blood and dry all the blood, and cut open in their tummy, it was terrible. So we don't have the ability to take our consciousness out of our dead body and put it somewhere else.
Right.
So this is obviously really bad to us. Did they say anything about this?
They saying, first of all, the question was asked, can a human stop abductions? The Nordics said
no.
No, they said yes.
Oh, they say yes.
They said you can stop abductions by saying, I don't want to be abducted. And they're saying, well, most people don't know they've been abducted because they've not been conscious. That's because the greys have put them to sleep.
But what about Jim Sparks? Jim
Sparks
said no many times.
Had full recall, but there was also an agenda. There was a reason that those ETs wanted Jim to be conscious. And that was they realized that all the bad things that are being done by the military with my labs, we need to get that out into the public domain so that everybody knows what the military are doing. That the military are abducting abductees, confusing them, and getting technology from ETs and doing bad things. They wanted Jim to go out and tell everybody, Jim Sparks, that we should have an amnesty. In other words, the government should forgive everybody in the black projects, and let's get the technology out and save the planet. This is the reason for that.
So you're saying, from the other way, say it like you can say no, but they may not promise you.
Well, the Nordics are saying, yes, you can stop being abducted if you can remember, but then I don't think that's conforming to my research, because people like Daryl Sims, the alien hunter, as he calls himself, was getting fed up with his abductions. He was getting fed up with his child's abduction. He said, you abduct my child, now it's personal. And what he found was the abductions were continuing. So I don't understand why we should look at this document on that point and agree that we can stop abductions unless this group of ETs, this group of Nordics, and that group of greys
promise to stop if you don't want.
Promise to stop. And there's another group.
And then the other group say, I didn't make these promises.
We have
You can say no, but I will keep on doing it.
We have to take this into account. This is galactic diplomacy. When you hear one thing, you've got to stop and say, maybe there's somebody else doing it. Well, I was talking to one of my colleagues in South Africa, and he's sort of said that what's probably happening is one group of greys got permission to do abductions, and then everybody else just jumped on the bandwagon and started to take advantage. And everybody started to do it. So today, it's not the original group, it's other groups. But clearly, we have to get to a level where we can engage in galactic diplomacy with higher beings and ask them, what the hell is going on? And then when enough of us know and enough of us realize we have to change our ways and become peaceful and caring, maybe the Federation will tell us more and help us get out of this mess. But at the end of the day, Chukfei, it is up to us to wake up. I mean, how many times a day, and I'm sure with you, do you meet people and the minute they find out that you're involved with UFOs and ETs, they laugh at you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is a heavy weight on our shoulder.
It happens every single day.
I've lost friends. By mistake, the other day, I made a very big mistake, I realized. I went to see an important business guy. He was leaving Hong Kong, and he wanted my details. I was going to do some important work with him. And I gave him my Exopolitics card instead of my company card. I realized, my secretary said, you gave, because it's the pink one, the pink red one. The guy hasn't called me back because it says Exopolitics, everything to do with extraterrestrial life, Neil Gould, and the number. The guy must have looked at this and thought I was a nut. But this, do you understand? This is the worldview, because he's a particularly religious guy.
Yeah, I have experience talking to one of the guy who may want to invest on some project, and this guy, a rich guy, really rich businessman, who sit in the opposite side of my table, and also the other guy who introduced both of us to each other. And this guy, he didn't say a word, but he was just listening to what we talk. During the conversation, we keep on talking about aliens. We didn't even talk about alien abduction. We didn't talk about deep information. We just only talk about UFO, and this guy's laugh. I was almost like to punch him in the face or something like that.
Sure.
What is it so funny about?
This is it. So, you come back to abductions, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking at what they say, and I'm telling you maybe there's other ETs doing bad things, or things, let's say, against what we like, not necessarily bad. But as a researcher, I have to tell you that I'm very friendly with A.J. Gavard, the top UFO researcher in Brazil. He's a fantastic guy. He was involved in the Vagina case. Do you remember that case?
Yeah, heard about
where
it.
they caught the alien. You saw pictures of it. It looked like an amphibian, had webbed fingers, red eyes.
Yeah.
Put him into the car, the police car. The police guy who sat next to the creature died, got sick.
Yeah.
Right? That's A.J. Gavard. Well, I was totally amazed when I spoke to A.J. Gavard some time ago. He was telling me about some of the mutilations they found in Brazil of humans.
Yeah.
Like the cattle mutilations with the eyes cut out, the backside cut out, the sex organs cut out.
No, the sex organ was burned.
Well, it's laser cut out using a laser. And he showed me pictures of humans found that way.
Yeah.
Now, I would say, well, maybe that's the military, which is my deep down feeling, But
maybe the other species of alien.
Well, I was saying it's military, and he's saying, no, you don't understand. This is what he's saying to me. I am working, he said, with the military, and we were investigating some of the cases where these UFOs were flying in the Amazon jungle with laser beams and burning people.
Burning people?
Shooting them with lasers and burning them. Some of them died. And this is documented. This is not something he's making up, because you can research this and find this. The question is, why, who, and what? Why this happened? Who did it? And what are they? And galactic diplomacy, we have to get to the answer through dealing with other extraterrestrials to find this out. Because my deep down suspicion, always with these kind of things, is that these are not ETs. These are a human signature somewhere. Because humans have a reason. We're being controlled by terrible humans on this planet. They have a reason to do this kind of thing.
Yeah,
keep you in fear. But A.J. Gavard is a 100% straight up guy. Maybe he's just too immersed in it. Maybe that's what's all around her. Maybe that's the number one topic. So you can see, even in our exopolitical field, on the one hand, you have people who are saying that these really bad guys burning, killing people, all the way across the spectrum. You have Dr. David Jacobs also saying it's a little bit negative. Then you've got Mary Rodwell, who are saying the abductions are good because they growth enhance, they enhance your spiritual growth, and she has 1,500 to 2,000 cases of people who have benefited. Only good cases of greys in Australia, doing fantastic things to people, healing. And then you go completely to the right, where you see Dr. Greer, that everybody is beautiful. Every ET is beautiful. Well, maybe he's right if you take out our anthropocentric view. Maybe he can see the bigger picture. Maybe on the other side, AJ is just totally immersed too much with the military. So you understand the problem. We have a huge spectrum of opinion. Now, us, as professional exopoliticians and galactic diplomats, and we are contactees, we are adept, we are acclimatizing, we are becoming used to understanding all the possibilities of what it is that we're dealing with. So when we come across a document like this with the Nordics, we can afford to criticize what they say and beg more questions. And that's what this program is about, is to help people understand that when they hear something bad or something too good, they can come to some kind of understanding, some kind of answer.
So,
without panicking. Because believe me, if they wanted to kill us, if they wanted to wipe us out, they would have done it
just like
long
that.
ago.
Oh yeah.
And we are still here, we are still thriving, and the Nordics say we ain't going away, and we're not going to get destroyed by a planet hitting us, we're not going to get destroyed by a comet. Even if some of us are, we will still come back again, and I think we are useful to them.
Okay. So another questions I have, which you heard a lot of cases after the alien abduction cases. The people come back with the little piece of metal implants in their mind, in their head, probably in their nose. I remember you showed me before there's some little thing on your cheek.
Yeah.
And when you press it and it goes to the other side.
You saw that it moved.
Yeah, it moved. And then you press it again, it goes to here.
I showed you.
And then after like 20 minutes, it's come back here.
Yeah.
And then it disappear in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And when I was a child, when I was a kid, it's still there? No, it's not there anymore, right? When I was a kid in secondary school, I suddenly remember when I wake up one day and my ears have a little, something like as small as like a half of the BB bullet, inside my ear, which is a circle like a spare, hard, and I don't have any feeling about it. And then it suddenly disappeared after a few months. So why do they have to put in a little metals into our head, in our bodies? People remove their implants from their arms, from their legs. What's the purpose of that if they have such a high technology?
Well, from our point of view, in science, as I said to you, we're interacting with the field. We are also multidimensionally, there's parts of us, of our physical existence, in many other dimensions at the same time. There are many things happening that we are not aware of. We are only aware of the 3 dimensions and maybe 1 dimension of time. That's all we're aware of.
Yeah.
There are many other things going on that we are not aware of. Now, these implants could very well be put into us and are reacting and interacting with the other dimensions higher that we are not aware of, and giving information back to the extraterrestrials.
So are you saying that people who have the implant are getting smarter?
There must be a reason.
I saw people who is still really stupid, even when they find the implants.
Oh no, they don't become stupid. They don't become stupid. When they find they've got an implant, they become very concerned. They become very concerned, and they want to know why, and they go looking for people like Dr. Roger Lear, who removes them. But as the Nordics have said in this document, I went over this with you, that yes, you can stop them from working using your will, this particular group of implants.
Nordic, yes.
But eventually, they put them back again.
eventually
they put them back. They put the implant back in you again and activate it. Even you take it out. Later on, the Nordics or the Greys, whoever's doing it, will put the implant back inside you.
So it is always better to keep it inside, so you don't have to do another injection again.
I don't think there's anything you can do about it because
but
we are so limited.
But people going to this, the plastic surgery, to remove the implant.
They remove them, yeah, and
even you remove it from the nose, from the.
Whitley Strieber, you saw in this film, the implant they tried to remove from here and it moved up here. They couldn't even get it; it was moving all over the place.
Yeah.
So, but we are just so, if the electromagnetic spectrum, in other words, lights, we can see here, but we can't see infrared, we can't see ultraviolet, we can't see X-rays. If the electromagnetic spectrum was 2,000 miles long, we can only see 2 inches. You understand?
Yeah.
So most of the reality we can't interact with. The morphogenic fields that Dr. Rupert Sheldrake talks about. All these fields that are helping us with precognition and telepathy, and these fields that make plants grow and that influence instinct, and some memory is inside them. We can't sense them or see them. But, this is very important to know that there are plenty of fields that we are not consciously interacting with. But if a higher species is aware of those fields, and they put an implant in you because they are interested and they are interacting with those fields, then there's a reason for the implant. Again, anthropocentric view, we don't like it, right? Because we don't want somebody to stick something into us. But from the point of view of our future, of our perhaps evolution, of perhaps how our body has to change to put up with the pollution here on this planet, the radioactivity, the electromagnetic waves from all the cell phones and from everything, maybe they have to put an implant in so that it can react with these morphogenic fields and see what will happen to us, or maybe protect us.
It's just the same thing like we put the little injection chips into the dog's necks. The dogs were not happy about it.
They were not happy, but we're not doing that for their good. We're just doing that to register all the information to make sure
if
they have
the dog runs away, being catched.
You know where it is, and
find out
if it needs an injection for rabies, the date. But putting the chip in, I don't believe it's to locate us. It's not to know where we are. They know where we are from our electromagnetic footprint.
You don't need the implants to follow.
Their implant has got to be for a higher reason, to interact with these morphogenic fields that are all around us that we cannot sense or understand or see because of our limited view on this electromagnetic spectrum. 2,000 miles long and we see 2 inches. It's in those other spectrums. More than likely, again, galactic diplomacy is making us think. We're thinking. And this is the route to our evolution and eventually understanding what's going on and getting into the Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
And joining the rest of cosmic society. These are the reasons. So when you have an implant, you start to think why. You don't become stupid, I can assure you.
Well, yeah, just do it. Well, because some of the people I see from the YouTube that people have little implants in their arms and they gotta go for the doctor and remove it. They remove it and then they hold a little ball, plastic ball in the tube. Swinging it and then don't know what is it. You don't know the purpose of it.
They don't like it.
They don't like it and they don't even think.
No. But we are at such a low level of evolution. There's thousands and millions of years more advanced. They put something in you, there's a reason. Okay. They're not going to tell you.
Another questions I have, people keep talking about, some sort of like a new age subjects, talking about the indigo childs.
Yeah.
Indigo child.
Yeah.
The children, the crystal child, the rainbow child, indigo child. Is that mentioned in this document?
This document does mention indigo children. I looked at there's a page in it. What they're saying is that this is nothing to do with them being hybrid.
They're not hybrid.
They're not hybrid. The Nordics are saying that every generation there are indigo children or children that have very special abilities, highly intelligent, extremely intelligent. Okay? they're saying that these people, depending on their social environment, will either become good people or go to drugs and become bad people. They can become criminals, very successful criminals. It all depends on their social environment. They're being brought up correctly, they're being looked after correctly, and getting the correct support.
So why don't they just abduct them and give them
do.
the good things?
They do.
And then let them to do
No.
successful and helping the people. If according to what the alien said, the indigo child and the special, the star child we're talking about, if they have such a high ability, if they have such a high intelligence, why don't you just abduct them? And give them good message, give them good information, and put them back, and then they can rule the world better.
Many indigos, or star children as people call them, are abducted and put into the breeding program. Because what the Nordics say the Greys are doing, and it could be what the Nordics are doing, this type of Nordic, is taking the best of these traits, these genetic abilities, and putting them into the hybrids. Surely that's what you do. You have a genetic pool of people you abduct. You have all the different DNA. You take the best. If you want something smart, you take a smart gene and put it in. If you want something resilient to temperature, you take the gene that's going to be resilient to temperature. You can choose and bioengineer the perfect hybrid. Now, these people have been doing this for ages. In fact, I have absolutely no doubt that the human being on this planet, of course, we are all hybrid. Our DNA, most of it is alien.
Yeah, we were created by many years ago, many years ago.
We were created many years ago, and that's what the Bible is possibly about. The creation, the genetic engineering of the human species, Homo sapien sapien, which came up from the early hominoids 400,000 years ago, maybe 300,000 years ago. The genetics were upgraded. I mean, the jump of the human being from, say, 250,000 years ago to where we are now is so great intellectually, greater than 2 million years of monkey-looking people. Take 2 million years to look from one type of monkey to another type of monkey, but only it took 250,000 years to change from a reasonable hominoid to Homo sapien sapien, what we are, where we have awareness of self-awareness. A dog has awareness, but he doesn't have awareness of self-awareness. A dog doesn't look in the mirror and think, oh, I'm a dog. That's the level we've reached, and we are still going up. We are being tweaked. Our genes are being tweaked.
So the missing link between the human, the Homo sapien, and the apes is probably the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch.
The missing link is there's no missing link. The missing link are the aliens. It's their genetics.
Yeah.
That's the missing link. It's
That
the
is
injection
no-
of the alien genetics.
Exactly. I know what you mean.
And the Sasquatch, yes, the Sasquatch is there. There's no doubt about it. The Sasquatch is there, absolutely there, no doubt about it. And not only just in British Columbia. I mean, I was there with Jake, and we interviewed some of the local Indians. And we had a long, meaningful talk with them. The Sasquatch is there, but the human worldview is so conditioned to block out everything that doesn't look right because they don't want to hear it.
The fake video, the fake Super 8 film. You use your mom, dress out like a big monkey and then walking on the wood.
Well, that's the Patterson video. I think that's true. I think that's true because we've had some biologists look at it. They're watching the gait. That means the way the Bigfoot walks and the arm and the breasts and the hump at the back. And
it should be real.
It should be real.
But still a lot of people coming out. Because the reason I'm thinking, because there's still a lot of people coming out, even the DNA. A lot of people coming out and say they got the DNA of the Bigfoot and they can prove a little percent of that is a human being. But, still the government, is coming out and then, what can I say, debunk it. They say, this is not real, this is fake.
Because the scientists who are being paid for research projects are getting their money from institutions to go one way. If you start to go the other way, they start to think they look stupid and going to lose their funding. So they criticize the other scientists. And we have the same in ufology. We have the same in exopolitics. We have the same in all these paleoanthropologists in the university. They shout at the ones that talk about humans having some interference in their creation through the stars, you know. They don't want to say that. They're scared of losing their funding. They're scared of the fact that they have to be re-educated all over again.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And that's what galactic diplomacy is to take that anthropocentric view, put it aside, so we don't look at it from the human point of view, keep our minds open, and welcome in the stars.
Okay, back to this document. When do you think the Earth will be ready to join? You know, this is
It's
really
not a question of time. It's a question of when we learn to stop
but
fighting.
up to these days, and we are not ready.
We are not.
We definitely
We are
not
ready. We are ready in terms of our physicality and our evolution. Physically, we are ready.
Yeah, but our mind,
are
our
ready.
consciousness is not
Our
ready yet.
consciousness is still being interfered with by the fear that is injected into the worldview by the elites who are controlling you, like I said, through the dollar, through war, through scarcity, through poisoning of food, poisoning of the air,
Medicine,
chemtrails,
the oils,
everything you can think
yes.
about it. If we could wake up, they are scared of what's called an awakened humanity. The elites are scared of all the humans getting together and saying, enough is enough. What gives you the right to print money? What gives you the right to charge me 20% on my credit card? What gives you the right to send me a bill for my electricity when electricity can be free? What gives you the right to run this country? Who said that you are the government? Who gave you permission to make all these laws? You make one law and you go and do another thing. You have the NSA. It's all secretive. Who said? Who gave permission for them to go spying on us? We have to get together and stop all this. And we have to get an amnesty for all these people. Amnesty is it's a forgiveness. We forgive them providing they tell us the truth. If they don't tell us the truth, jail. That's what it's about. That's if we can get over that, we can join the Federation. I'm quite sure.
You really think we have one day like this?
Oh, you can see it breaking down now. The NSA, you can see you've got Assange coming out.
Yeah.
You've got this
You said
Snowden
that-
is NSA.
Yeah, you said that many years. Edward Snowden, that even before he come up and talk anything about NSA, you said that many years when I first met you, and then you mentioned the truth is coming to disclose.
It's coming. All the disclosures already happened. The governments aren't saying it, but
Yeah.
it's all out there. Everything you want to know is there.
5 months ago, that is almost impossible to imagine. There is one guy will come out and say the
I'm
bad
telling
thing
you.
about the NSA.
Your Occupy Wall Street. You couldn't imagine some time ago. The uprisings in Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, Syria, Iraq. You would not think this was going to happen. People are waking up, but they haven't. They wake up from one dream, not one nightmare, and they're moving into another nightmare. Like Egypt came out, they got rid of Mubarak. Now they're moving into another problem. You know, they've got to get through all their problems. There's a lot of problems ahead of us. So we are moving. Things are moving. Things are changing. People are waking up. They are waking up. There's no doubt about it. But they are still concerned that every day they need to go to work and pay their bills. This is the number one, survival.
Yeah, everybody do that. You do that as well.
Everybody has to do that. But everybody is making a little change. I tell you, every day. One little inch every day. Everybody's shifting. Everybody's
But
shifting.
that's not fast enough. I mean, if we want to join the Galactic Federation, we won't be able to join it in 2 years' time.
I'd put it to you this way. We are going to do Galactic Diplomacy CE5.
Yeah,
5 years ago, nobody was doing it.
nobody.
Dr. Greer was doing it.
Nobody
He built
even
stuff.
mentioned about it.
Nobody mentioned.
Nobody even knows what the CE5.
They don't know. But Greer's
No.
doing it. Greer's doing it.
And
doing it.
now a lot of Hong Kong people know what the CE5
They
is.
know, and I'm taking you guys to do the CE5. Okay, in a clean, fresh place with none of this negativity that I told you about here. Right? No negative groups or anything like that. You'll go to a place and we will have galactic diplomacy and we'll have a nice, clean environment. No bad vibes. And you'll understand what I'm saying. And this is what's got to happen. we have to make contact directly ourselves. Those people who are at a conscious level, ready for it, must do it. Because the more they do it, the more they inject positive into the collective consciousness of the planet, the new sphere. And this is what it's about.
Okay. We're heading a break. I mean, that definitely we need another part, okay? We're heading a break and then come back for the last section of MJ13.好啦，我哋翻到嚟，因為資料太豐富啊，即係啲沓資料好緊要，因為係啱啱3日前啊 ，Nels 我哋而家錄音2-3日前啊 ，Nels 收到啊，所以呢份資料咧好緊要，即係要值得同大家去分享呢啲資料啦。信不信由你啊，當然。Okay, in the document, they ask about the human beings. Is the human beings expendable? You know, are we in dangers or destroy ourselves?
Before I answer that question, I have to first of all explain to you that we have to get through the nuclear age.
We haven't got through it yet.
We haven't got through the nuclear age. It's a stranglehold on us. It's very important we get through this nuclear age to move on to the next level. Because why? If we get past the nuclear age without any damage, it means we will be able to evolve spiritually. We would have left behind the fear behind us, and the spiritual evolution and the technical evolution will accelerate, because every civilization in the universe has one major priority, and that is every civilization has to be able to leave its planet. In case
leave the planet.
To
what
leave
what
the
do
planet.
you mean by leave the planet?
Okay.
I mean, we send the astronaut to the space.
Right. Let's say, for example, there's a huge comet heading for the planet. We can't stop this asteroid.
Yeah.
We can't stop it. It's too powerful. We find out too late. Or there's a shock wave, a galactic superwave, they call it, coming from deep space. We've got to get out of here. We have to be able to get onto spaceships as a species, as the human species.
Not for a few person.
No.
For the whole human species.
Right. And we have to be able to leave and go to Mars, for example, in the solar system. Which means we also have to be able to terraform. That means change Mars. Terraforming. To make it like the Earth. To get in there, to be able to heat it up, melt the ground, the ice, create water, create clouds, bring trees, animals, to terraform. So we can have a civilization there too. We can expand onto Mars. But we also have to know that what's very, very important after nuclear age and this evolution, technical evolution, is to be able to go exosolar. That means out of the solar system from Mars, all the way out to the stars. Because we have to be able to be spacefarers, scientists, and expand our knowledge and expand the frontiers of humanity and move out into space.
But from our technology, what I can see is we spend another 5 years just from here, 5,000 years just from here to travel to the other planet.
That is because of our worldview, because of what the universities are told to teach you, because of what those professors with what I call tenure tetanus, they paid just to do nothing, to sit there, tell you. It's because what the military wants you to believe, that you've got to put fossil fuels and hydrogen into rockets to travel. No, you don't. I told you that space is made up of 3 dimensions of space, height, width, and length, and 3 dimensions of time and 3 dimensions of consciousness. So we have to get to the point where our technology and our spirituality are in harmony, and that we understand that we don't have to go 7 light years away in 5 or 100 years. We simply have the technology to take space. We use what's called the Einstein-Rosen Bridge, for example. We bend space. Here we are on Earth. Here is the nearest star. We want to go from here to here, not in 7 light years. So we fold space over and we just jump off and we are there. Boom. And space goes back again.
It was just like 3 hours trip.
They don't tell you. The scientists say, ooh, there can't be aliens. How would they ever get here? You know, they would have to spend their whole life traveling.
Yeah,
it would take them
that's
20,000 years. No. They're here. They've always been here. They have portals to walk through. They have teleportation, according to the Nordics. And they can cross over using the Einstein-Rosen bridges. These are wormholes in space.
They don't use the old
So
technology.
we have to get rid of our anthropocentric views, throw them out, get into this galactic diplomacy mode, encourage more people to do galactic diplomacy, CE5, get to the point where this planet stops fighting and begins to share, thinks with the heart and doesn't think with the mind, and then it will come to us. Now, I know you're going to say to me in 5 years' time,
No, we
what's
won't
gonna
be able
happen?
to. We won't be able to do it. Not only 5. I'm talking about like 10 years. We won't be able to fold the space, bend the dimension, and then jump from here to there.
We know it's possible. That's
You see.
knowledge.
You want
Knowledge has a limit.
Yeah, I know.
Imagination has no limit.
But you're saying that we have to get over, the nuclear dangers.
Have to get
And I don't see in our world view, in our control by the elites, by the government. I don't really see we can pass through this stage and then go for the next level of evolution in the next 5 years or even 10 years.
It's very, very hard. for
It's very,
people-
very
it's
hard.
very hard for people to see tomorrow. But people in Nazi Germany woke up one morning, it was over. People behind the Berlin Wall woke up one morning, it was over. Blacks and whites in South Africa, under the oppressive government, woke up one morning with Mandela free.
So you're saying this could happen in the next morning?
Snowden, the whistleblowers
Oh, yeah.
are all coming out. The Arab Spring, as I've said to you, with Egypt and all these countries, Jordan, Syria, waking up, people waking up that the mortgages were all fraudulent in America, that 9/11 was probably a setup, that you could go on and on and on. This didn't happen 5 years ago.
And it just
5
happened
years
like
later,
that.
you're waking up. Now there's a this and there's a that thing's new, and now we've got this information. Now we're seeing little spaceships around the sun, and NASA are saying no, they're not. They're just compression marks on the film. But people are realizing. Suddenly you see a huge flame come out of the sun and go around the spaceship as it draws energy out. Suddenly people are putting 2 and 2 together. They're connecting the dots. They're not saying that's a compression a fault on the film. They're saying no, that little thing, whatever it is sucking fire out of the sun. And then somebody else is saying, well, maybe it's getting energy. And there are people putting cameras onto volcanoes and watching these cigar-shaped craft shooting through and going down the volcano. And people are saying, well, why would you go down a volcano? Heat, energy. There's a tremendous shift in thought. You now have the internet, you have YouTube. About 50% of YouTube is fake, but the inspiration to do the fake came from the real. So the real truth is spurring the fake, which is maybe getting more people interested, and then more people want to find out the truth. They peel away the fake, they get to the truth. And that's the process that will clear us of our anthropocentric views. It will make us realize that what we're looking at is fake. That what we're being told is fake. That it is up to us, our power. Even the Nordics say that humans have this power, this emotion. The Nordics say they've got no sense of humor. If you said to a Nordic, I'll tell you a joke, why did the chicken cross the road? You want to get the other side, and you'll start laughing. The Nordic will go,
What's so funny?
he doesn't understand what was the joke. We have that ability. According to some of the Andromedans, they're fascinated with us because we create music. They can't create music. They use the vibration and harmonics of the universe and of the stars and what is already out there. But they watch us creating this music. We're a very creative species. We can do fantastic things, and I dare say that the Greys are very interested in the things we do, interested in these emotions that we have, this incredible link we have with our children, where they just maybe divide asexually by taking one and making it into two, making into another one. You understand? There is something very special about us. And no doubt there are other planets in the solar system that have life at our level as well. We must be created by them. Because the DNA, the primordial soup is all around us.
Yeah.
Somebody comes and puts it together.
I think so.
And engineers it and makes it go in the right direction.
Otherwise we would still be like a wild animals.
Yeah, some are using it for their advantage, and some are using it.
But the wild animal is even more clever than we are now, because at least they don't destroy their home.
They don't destroy their habitat. No, but they eat each other.
Well, they eat each other, but they eat each other, but they don't destroy the earth like what we do now. We are destroying each other.
We are destroying everything, and what they don't want is us to go into space and destroy space. You understand now? So the nuclear age, if we don't stop the nuclear age, we cannot go extrasolar.
So we may destroy ourselves.
We'll either destroy, we have that choice. We either destroy ourselves.
We have the choice. We have the choice. It's only you and me and people who are against the nuclear weapons and the nuclear electric. We have a choice not to use it, but we don't have a choice for the government to not to use it. We don't have a choice.
We have a mass collective consciousness. When enough people feel that the time is right to stop these people, when enough people say, right, every Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday we will not put petrol in our cars, when enough people say, okay, none of us are going to pay the bills this month, when enough people take action collectively, everything crumbles. That's all we have to do. Everybody in the world for 2 days stop spending, stop using petrol, stop buying food, and just existed what they had, just 2 days, my God, that would make a big hole in the system. When enough of us know that, that's how it'll start. Peaceful civil disobedience. That's what will happen.
So that's you think it is possible. We can.
It is possible.
You and me, maybe we are able to see the evolution of the next step.
The ETs are helping us with this. The ETs are allowing people like Captain Bob Silas, who was in charge of the Minuteman missile base in the States in the 60s, whose Minuteman nuclear missiles were deactivated by a UFO that flew above the base and switched them off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we all heard about
Not only did it happen to him, it happened to many, many commanders on the nuclear bases around not only America, but around the world.
Yeah, London, Japan, and everywhere.
They even switched on the launch and made the countdown start and then switched off at the last minute, made everybody sweat. The pressure and the help, and I'm not saying it's these Nordics, but some Nordics are doing this, are helping. I have no doubt that there are Nordics in the Pentagon. No doubt at all.
Oh, I think so.
Bob Dean has said, he was the command sergeant in NATO, SHAPE,
Yeah.
in the 60s. And he said this is one of the things they feared.
Who said that again?
Bob Dean.
Bob Dean, yes.
Command Sergeant Bob Dean retired. That's what he said. That's what he said. And when you see my interview on YouTube with Major George Filer, you can look Neil Gould, Major George Filer. I interview Major George Filer.
When was that?
I interviewed him 2 years ago, and he talks about his experiences in the Air Force confronting these big UFOs, but even more incredible than that, I discussed with him when he was a child, these UFOs used to land in the field opposite his house, and the ETs, human-looking, possibly Nordics, floated him and his next-door neighbor as children onto the craft, where they were given spiritual messages about the nuclear age, about getting over the nuclear age, about evolution, spiritual evolution. It's all in my film. So you can see there's a greater agenda here in this document. But I'm giving you all the other possibilities of maybe good reasons or bad reasons behind this document. It's for everybody themselves to learn, listen, and think.
Okay.
Because now they have somebody to tell them.
So are you're saying we cannot 100% or 110% believe what is said in this document, but we have to think.
You have a few things. One, you have to understand what's in the
Yeah,
document.
because what I'm asking, what makes you think this is... I know this is from one of your whistleblower. You know, this guy works in the military, but how can we know this is not a bullshit?
Because what we're doing is we're comparing it to core truths that we do know. Some of it lines and some of it is out of line. When it's out of line, we don't dismiss it. We say maybe it's somebody else. But we have to always discern. We have to keep to a center line. As long as it's not the human perspective. That's very hard. It's very hard. Okay? It's heartbreaking to think that you might be like a cow living on a farmer's farm. You may be. You have to accept that if that's what it may be. So we have to take that non-anthropocentric view, take in the information, analyze it, compare it with other cases, look at the reality that's happening here, look at the nuclear situation, look at the elites controlling you, see everybody's agenda. What is it the elites want? Of course, control, greed, absolute control. What do the Nordics want? Maybe they want your DNA. Maybe some of them really want to help, but there are some that are against, that are really not against, but have a different perspective. Maybe they want your DNA. They have another reason. Maybe they want to make, as in Jim Sparks' case, they said they want to make hybrids in case we destroy the planet. Then they will have re-engineered better beings able to live peacefully. Well, we don't like that because it doesn't suit us. But my God, the planet would like it, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
The planet would like to have its trees back.
Yeah.
The planet would like to have its gases and everything in the right order. Blue sky. Maybe the fish don't want to keep choking on oil. Maybe the seafood around Fukushima doesn't want the radioactivity. They'd be happy if they could get rid of us and put something more peaceful in. We're given a chance. It's up to us. Either we change and the planet thrives, and then we're able to leave the planet and go to other planets and create beautiful paradises everywhere, or it's very easy.
We kill
the
ourselves.
Planet will open up the ground and we'll be falling in it, and it'll close, and the ETs will watch and say, phew,
Done.
they're not going to go and spread this nonsense out in space. It's our choice.
Yeah, we spread this message a long time ago, and people still don't see the necessary of changing.
It's our choice.
It's our
choice.
Okay, I have the last questions. We are heading to the last part, almost to the end. On the website of Exopolitics Hong Kong, I saw you have a free books section, which is files. What's the name of that? Files of... It's a story, it's an interview record from a guy, a reporter to a reptilians. What's the name again?
You mean the Lacerta files?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything common with this document?
It's very interesting because, again, it is the testimony, I think, of a Scandinavian lady who met Lacerta, who, when she first saw Lacerta, was a screen, looked like a human, but when she engaged the being, the screen was dropped and she could see that Lacerta was a reptilian with a tail.
It scared the hell out of her.
Yeah. It would. In my view, this is a very important document because it actually gives you very in-depth detail about their understanding of us and our lack of understanding of everything else. From my memory, because I read this about 4 years ago. 3 years ago. It is an important document. I think it's a document people should read. I don't necessarily say believe everything in it, because you have to understand when an advanced civilization tells you something,
they may not have to tell you the truth.
It may not. The truth sometimes hurts, or maybe they want to upset you, or maybe you simply wouldn't understand. It's like if you went back 10,000 years in time and you saw a caveman living in a cave.
Explain what is iPad.
You've got a TV screen. He says, how the hell do those people go into the screen? Well, you difficulty answering. Well, the distance, the difference in evolution between us and these reptilians is huge. Not only in evolution, but we're different. They can operate in different dimensions.
So that could be the same situation as this document.
It's a similar situation.
So we cannot totally believe what he says, but we can use it as a reference.
It's not a question of not believe, because we're not interested in belief. Because what is belief? We talk about epistemology, the source of proof, the source of information. Now, this document comes from somewhere, from these beings. It may be we don't understand the perspective
Of it.
the same way as a cow wouldn't understand why you're keeping them in that field. Why you don't let them free? You know,
They don't even think about it.
well, they think they're free. So you also think in a human way, anthropocentric view. It's not a question of belief. It's a question of getting to the truth.
But how do we know what is the truth?
Because we are looking for the truth all the time. In our studies, in the Exopolitics studies, we are studying testimony from so many people, so many cases. We got one guy in South Africa, Manuel Lameroy. He's incredible. He's one of the most brilliant guys you'll ever meet. He's collecting all the cases of ET contact in South Africa. The guy's beyond brilliant anyway. A lot of other things I could tell you. Everybody can go and look at his website, www.exopedia, where he puts all this information, collects it, and gives it to the public. And you can take part in that website if you have information to add. Exopedia, EXOPAEDIA.com.
You're spelling right?
Exopedia.com. Yeah.
Exopedia.com.
Exopedia.com. So you know, we are really about collecting truth. Even you look at something like this, you may not believe. Well, a lot of things you don't believe that are true. People don't believe they're aliens.
No,
It's not a question of belief. It's a question of getting to the source of the truth. It's a big difference. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know? You let the water out the bath, don't throw the baby out with the water.
I see.
Get to the truth.
好啦，嗱，即係希望你哋明白呢集。雖然我哋有字幕，但係咧，我諗譯嗰個都幾辛苦啊！真係，即係我都聽得，我都明嘅。即係聽眾，你哋明唔明咧？就要睇你哋即係過去吸收咗幾多啊！呢個係一個好深嘅一個資料嚟。咁我哋時間又差唔多，但係咧喺我覺得呢一集咧可以係點樣咧？就係、嗰個題目而家係咁樣啦。我希望咧 I'm hoping that I can collect like another 10 or maybe 20s of quality questions from the audience about this document, and that you can ask, and then you can come up again before the season end of this season, before the end. You can come up again and answer the questions.
No problem.
Yeah?
No problem. We can have a live show one day, you know.
Yeah, we can do the live show another day. 嗱，我哋希望啊，即係大家雖然呢份文件真係好深入嘅文件嚟啊。Are we able to disclose this document, or we just keep it secret?
I think just keep it for the time being.
For the time being, OK. 我哋暫時 hold 住呢個，但係大家有問題關於呢啲所謂嘅 Nordic 或者啲人形外星人啊，當然佢呢份文件唔係淨係講 Nordic 嗰啲嘢嘅，佢仲會講好多其他種族嘅外星人啊，外星人同我哋地球人嘅 interactive 啊。This is Exopolitics，OK， 唔係淨係講話見到飛碟，即係而家講緊我哋同外星人中間嗰個 interactive 啊，呢啲先至叫做 Exopolitics，OK。咁如果大家有興趣，我想收集20個或者10個或者20個，即係有份量嘅，或者問一啲應該點講啊？即係有質素嘅問題啦嚇，唔好問啲低能問題。咁究竟係咪真係有外星人㗎？咁即係呢啲問題問親出嚟咧，我都唔會答你㗎啦。OK， 咁所以你問一啲有份量嘅問題，我收集20個，然之後咧我哋揾一集同阿 Neil 上到嚟，我哋再做 live。然之後可以睇下可唔可以解答到大家呢20個問題。咁如果大家有興趣咧，就上翻去我哋 MJ13個 forum 嗰度，即係而家呢個前面呢度呢個網址，咁樣咧就可以即係 Facebook 嚟嘅，咁樣可以留言啦嚇，咁可以睇翻一啲嘅過去嘅資料啦。咁亦都呢一份嘢，我哋今日講完之後，大家有咩問題嘅， 諗一啲問題出嚟，等大家一齊去諗下嚇。唔緊要，即係你覺得呢份嘢係真定假嘅，信與唔信唔係一個最重要嘅問題，而係呢份文件起碼可以令到大家去考慮去諗一啲問題，呢個先係最重要嚇。I'm just explaining them whether you believe it or you don't believe it. It doesn't matter. It's a matter of you use your brain
getting to the
to
truth.
think.
Getting
People
to the
need to think. Because I still seeing people coming over and asking me and shake hand. Oh, you're Chuck Fay. Okay, I want to ask you a question. Is that real? UFO is real? Are there aliens in the space? I mean, this kind of question are really hard to answer anymore.
Yep.
You know, so this is a really, really good quality document.
Yes.
And people should really think. Okay, we keep it in secret for the time being, and we'll see what we can do.
Yep.
Okay, 咁我哋今日時間差唔多啦。Okay, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening.
Again, and we should be able to make another episode before the season ends.
Right. Maybe we'll look at another similar document that I have.
Yeah. If you have something else, just make sure you bring it to us.
I have the same people interviewing the Aldebarans, which is another
the Greys.
No, Aldebarans.
What is that?
It's another group of ET. Aldebaran is a big star. The huge star, you know.
What's the aliens look like?
Well, we'll
you'll
go through the
come to that.
documents. We'll
Okay.
go through. I haven't completed the study of the document. I have the documents.
That is very difficult for you and me, both of us, to read such a thick
Very
document.
hard.
Very
very
difficult.
hard.
好啦，我哋仲有另外一份文件啦，就係另外一啲嘅外星人嘅一啲 interview 啊，即係當然呢份文件我哋阿 Neil 去睇嗰份文件係好辛苦嘅，我同阿 Neil 睇呢份文件都已經好辛苦嘅，所以咧希望可以盡早啦嚇，讀完睇完嗰啲資料，我哋睇下會唔會下一季或者喺呢季完之前再同大家去見面嘅。OK， so
and I'm very tired, Chukfei.
Yeah. We also tired. It's 9 o'clock in the evening. Okay. Oh, thank you again. Thanks again for coming up, and
welcome.
We should see you again. And then after that, we will see you on the tour.
Good. Excellent.
Okay. We cannot wait for the tour. I think a lot of people cannot wait for the tour as well. 好啦，我哋遲啲再見，係咁，下個禮拜繼續 MJ13，拜拜。